Let me tell you one thing, why the government is slow. In fact, there is some kind of guilty consciousness. Because look at Boko Haram, how it started. Their leaders were summarily executed and they took up arms. So it is the government that forced them to take arms. Look at the herdsmen. We have evidences that they were massacred and killed, and that forced them to take arms. So the government has...
Hello and what's up guys? In this video we need to talk about something extremely sensitive because a well-known Islamic cleric has just dropped claims that are shaking Nigeria from top to bottom. What he revealed about the government, insecurity and America will leave you speechless. Let's get straight into it. According to him, the growing tension between Nigeria and the United States is not a coincidence at all. He said America's sudden interest in Nigeria, visa bans, possible sanctions, and even talk of targeting terror camps came at a very suspicious moment, especially when things inside Nigeria are already fragile. But the real shock came when he went deep into how these armed groups actually started. He said the government itself created the conditions that pushed Boko Haram and the herdsmen into taking up arms. In his words, their leaders were eliminated, communities were attacked, and people who had lived quietly for generations suddenly felt they had to defend themselves. He said this triggered a cycle of revenge that nobody controlled, and that the government is now moving slowly because of its own guilty consciousness. Didn't stop there. He said the government now has to change its approach because they finally understand something. Some of these groups can actually be gathered, spoken to, and convinced to stop their attacks if the dialogue is handled correctly. He said thousands of them have explained their complaints before, many of them saying they lost loved ones and felt pushed into retaliation. But then he turned into the question everyone is asking: why is America suddenly so interested right now? He said the timing is strange. For over 15 years, Nigeria has struggled with banditry, Boko Haram and herdsmen violence, but America did not intervene. In fact, he questioned why foreign powers previously blocked Nigeria from buying weapons, and even hinted that some of the weapons being used by insurgents are too advanced to come from within Africa. According to him, even nearby countries don't have these weapons. Then came the most chilling part. He warned that Nigerians must be extremely careful because foreign intervention never comes without a hidden agenda. He believes some foreign powers want military access, want influence, and may even want to weaken Nigeria from within, just like what happened in Iraq, Libya, and Sudan. He said if Nigeria allows America to enter under the guise of help, they may target influential political and religious leaders, eliminate key voices, and destabilize the country so badly that Nigeria becomes easy to control. He described this as decapitation, removing the people who hold the nation together. He also spoke about how even he, someone who has mediated with these groups, has been demonized. He revealed he has suffered personally, relatives kidnapped, family members gone, and yet his attempts at peace have been twisted as if he supports criminals. According to him, this is part of a wider strategy. If peace is achieved internally, foreign power will lose their excuse to step in. He insisted that Americans are not here to help Nigerians fight insecurity. He claimed they want Nigeria unstable, so they have a reason to enter, build a base, and take advantage of chaos. He said if Nigeria must form alliances, he should consider Russia and China instead. Countries he believes won't try to control Nigeria's internal affairs. And then he made his final point. He said everything happening right now might push Nigeria to finally wake up, review its foreign policy, decide who its real friends are, fight corruption properly, and stop outsiders from dividing the country along religious and ethnic lines. His message was simple but powerful. Nigeria must be extremely careful. Not every help is help. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
All right, Shaykh Gumi, looking at what we're discussing this morning at this point, I'd like to hear your view. What do you think lies at the heart of the recent friction between Nigeria and the United States? Is this primarily about foreign policy, human rights concern, or competing strategic interests? A lot of Nigerians, a lot of voices would have different perspectives on saying that there are different interests that are going on at this point. So what is your take on this? Do we
So,
see that clear for me?
I think
All right.
all of the above, whatever Nigerians say about this issue kicks in because it's something that is cumulative. Um, the killings in Nigeria are irrespective of religion or even ethnicity. Everybody's involved. And it has been for a long time, since Jonathan's time, or in fact since Radgo's time, when Boko Haram were attacked and they took arms. So why now? Why now is America concerned about Nigeria? That is the issue. So many issues are involved in it. Why they want to concentrate now and attack Nigeria?
All right. Looking at
most of the reasons, I think, is their failure in the Sahel region. They want to establish a military base in Nigeria. They want our resources, as they have done in Iraq. And all the reasons people have proposed, intellectuals have proposed, it's all of it. So it's just time for them now. And most important is the politics.
all right.
They don't want. You see, whenever we have a Muslim leader in Nigeria, they try to decapitate and eliminate him. They have killed Tafa Balewa, Sardauna. They have killed Major General, our General Murtala. Even Abacha was poisoned. So why is it whenever Muslims are in power in Nigeria, somehow using some disgruntled elements, especially in the south, they try to take away the leader? So I think what America is trying to do now, they will claim maybe the government is complicit in the killing of Christians, and don't be surprised they attack even the presidential palace. Trying to kill the president. I don't rule it out, as they have done in many other places. And they may also kill some other people just by framing them that they are working with terrorists. All based on lies.
What's going on at this point in the country, in Nigeria, after the declaration by the United States that Nigeria is a country of particular concern due to the alleged genocide of Christians. At this point, Nigeria is also grappling with serious internal divisions, ethnic, religious, and regional. But then, how much do these domestic faults lines influence how we respond to external criticism at this point? Because when we have these criticisms, it seems like it increases the divide that already exists.
Yes, it does increase it. That's why we don't want foreign intervention. Yes, we confess there is problem, there is insecurity in Nigeria. But I can categorically say the government is doing its best. The army, the police, and the SS are doing their best because Nigeria is a big country. We are 200 million plus. Even gathering intelligence is something hectic, but we are doing our best. And one thing, the attacks are getting down and slowly. Things are improving. So at this point, when things are improving, how can the government, how can an external force come and say it is going to interfere? They didn't interfere when we were at the apex of the insecurity.
A lot will disagree that things are improving. We've seen escalating numbers of a lot of Nigerians being killed so far, from kidnapping and banditry to, the Boko Haram, as well as what is going on, intercommunal clashes in the north central. So
look at it. It's flaring up in areas but coming down in some other areas. Look at Kaduna, for instance. Kaduna is relatively calm now. Look at the road between Kaduna and Abuja. It used to be the den of kidnapping, but now there's no more kidnapping on the road. So I think we should appreciate what the security is doing. But this is no time for intervention, foreign intervention. This is no time for it.
All right, Sheikh, still on that, about the U.S. intervention, lots of Nigerian majority at this point are in agreement with the latest update that the U.S. military are drawing plans to hit terror targets in Nigeria. We all know that lots of people are talking about how this has been going on for a very long time. The Nigerian government are really slow about tackling insurgency in Nigeria. So don't you think this is actually a good thing for the U.S. intervention, because they are going to hit the target, the terrorist camps in Nigeria?
Let me tell you one thing. Why the government is slow. In fact, there is some kind of guilty consciousness. Because look at Boko Haram, how it started. Their leaders were summarily executed and they took up arms. So it is the government that forced them to take arms. Look at the herdsmen. We have evidences that they were massacred and killed, and that forced them to take arms. So the government has to really readjust the way it tackles issue. So it's going to take a little bit time, but I think they have gotten the way now. Since they know that they can gather them and dialogue with them and see how they can convince them, one, to stop attacking people, secondly, to ultimately drop their weapons. And it's on course. But what I'm saying, why the timing? Something that has been going on for 15 years. Why just now Americans won when they have been in the past preventing us from getting weapons? Secondly, there are commissions on Boko Haram that have confirmed that Americans were involved in dropping weapons to these people, aiding them. They are fighting Nigerian army with anti-aircraft guns. Where can they get it from? From where? Even Chad doesn't have them. Cameroon don't have them. So the same people that have caused or aggravated our problem cannot be our solution now. This is what we are trying to say. So we have to be very careful. We should not allow the unpatriotic parts of Nigerians to aid foreigners to come and invade our country.
All right, Sheikh. At this point, with everything that is going on, with the development that we have on the United States giving out, its plan when it comes to these interventions, how do you assess the current government's, handling of dissent and opposition voices, especially when the US and others raise human rights concerns?
Yes, human rights concern is there in Nigeria, but I don't think they have the moral ground to teach us about humanity. Look at what happened in Gaza. They financed it. Trump was there telling Netanyahu that we gave you all the weapons you needed and you used them well. And everybody knows Netanyahu killed children, women, and destroyed buildings, hospitals. So these people will not teach us about morality at all. We have to be very careful with them. They are already known to be genocidal, killing people, flipping people's wealth. We have to be very careful with America especially. With all foreigners, but America especially.
All right, Sheikh, we just heard that the United States or the United States Congress is trying to pass a bill in sanctioning the Miati Allah cattle herders as well as the Miati Allah Kautal Hori group. What is your take on it, and how do you think this would escalate?
You see, that just shows me they have another motive rather than fighting the banditry, because the bandits, they don't. In fact, the people they hate more are the Miati Allah people, saying that when the government is killing us, when we are met with injustice, you are doing nothing to protect our rights. So they don't listen to Miati Allah. Miati Allah has no any hand in this. So to label Miati Allah as part of a big conspiracy, that shows their intelligence is faulty, or they just want to create a narration in which by there will be. They want to balkanize Nigeria. What's happening in Sudan and Libya, this is what they wanted in Nigeria, because from then they can take our resources.
All right, Sheikh, you mentioned earlier that the bandits, the terrorists, needs convincing. And we all know the havoc they've created, in the society in Nigeria. They've raped women, they've killed lives, they've destroyed properties. So do we really need, do the government really need to convince these terrorists at this point? Because we've seen the cases of repentant Boko Haram, we've seen the cases of dialogue. So is convincing what is needed from between the government and the terrorists right now?
Okay, sorry, please to cut you. You see, the former governor of Bauchi State, Yuguda, was able also to go with government delegation into the bush, and they met more than 5,000 bandits. They were all complaining. Those who have lost their parents, those who have lost their brethren, those from our hostility too. So when you say they have killed, yes, I know they have killed, and it's wrong to kill anybody innocent. This is absolutely an obnoxious thing to do. We don't support that. But you see, if you know their psychology, they are on a revenge mission. Everybody knows the herdsmen, especially the Fulani herdsmen. They don't just attack people. We have been living with them for centuries. They don't attack people without any cause. So what I think government needs to do is to really bring them up together in a unison and in a holistic form, so that there is peace, and they are ready for that. Because if you call them for peace, they come. It's unlike the others, like IPOB. IPOB, the government has been trying to dialogue with them. They still refuse. They are still behind creating a separate state. They're secessionists. Besides being terrorists, they're secessionists. Well, these people are not secessionists. They want peace. They call for it. In fact, they even invited a lot of media. I think Daily Trust is high time it really goes into the bush and have, although they did it before, and the former government prevented it from airing it on air. So why is government afraid of listening to these people? They just want to demonize them and give reasons to come in and divide us and cause mayhem in Nigeria and divide the tribes, like what is happening in Sudan now.
All right. Sheikh, just as you mentioned, you spoke about mediation and making sure that there's an agreement between both sides. And you've been outspoken on issues of insurgency, dialogue and rehabilitation as well. So how might the current US-Nigeria standoff affect cooperation in counterterrorism and intelligence sharing? And how do you think the country should tackle these issues at this point?
Let me tell you, the Americans are never ready for us to assist us to tackle this problem. In fact, they want it to persist so that they have a reason to attack us. They want to attack us to have a base, as I've said. I don't have to repeat it. And whatever all the intellectuals have said is correct. We have our own congregation of scholars who have studied this for a long time. And we found that America is just trying to get an excuse. It cannot exonerate itself from what is happening. The insecurity is happening. Because these people, there's no way they get the weapons they are using against our army without the collaborations of an international group. And the former chief of defense staff have said it categorically, that they are sponsored. In fact, when they catch some of them, they find them with foreign currency and the kind of ammunition they use. So there is no way that the international community is not involved. And now if you ask who is policing the world, it's America. So they know who is selling guns, who is running guns. They know everything. In fact, in Nigeria, we have the CIA office, we have all those intelligence offices in Nigeria. They know everything. They know, in fact, if they want to strike, as he said he wants to do it very fast, they're just going to kill some people, some influential people, as they did in Iraq when they went. They killed more than 500 professors ago. Just like what the Israelis in collaboration now. Trump is confessing that he was in charge of attacking Iran, and what they did was to kill all their generals and scientists. And this is what they are trying to do for Nigerians. You know, decapitation, we call it. They kill the leaders. So now they will take maybe very influential political leaders, very influential religious leaders, attack them at once and kill them. So the rest will be slaves to them because nobody can raise his voice.
All right.
And if you can, myself, I'm suffering from this demonization. Look at all the efforts I've been trying to bring peace in our region. Because I'm in the eye of the storm. I know what our population is suffering from. I'm a victim of this bandit. My brother was kidnapped. We had to pay about 5 million, to ransom him.
All right.
I have a relative who was in the army, was ambushed by these bandits. They killed him. And we have stake in the nation. That's why we are trying to pacify and see that there is peace in the nation. And yet, now they say you are a bandit of an advocate, you are a bandit, this, a bandit, that. They don't want us to have a solution to this problem, So I don't think Nigeria should really entertain. What I call for Nigerians or Nigerian government to do immediately is to go into military pact with China and Russia. so that they give us some anti-aircraft. That is their only weapon. They cannot put boots on the ground. The military, the American military, cannot put boots on the ground. They know they cannot hold a ground. Just like they didn't do it in Iraq, just like they didn't do it in Afghanistan. What they do is to bombard, kill, decapitate leaders. This is the only thing they can do. So we should try and get very good anti-aircraft missiles now. It's high time for Nigeria. I call on President Tinubu not to relent, and he should not think he's off the list of those people that they want to eliminate.
All right. So now, looking at this recent bill that is trying to be passed in Congress, the United States Congress, do you think in its progression there would be other names or groups involved or added to the list of those that are going to be sanctioned? And what do you predict?
What I predict, I don't think they will attack now because they have found Nigerians. In fact, they have said Nigerians are one of the most educated people living in the United States. From our reaction and your efforts to the press, you didn't shiver like what we see in Middle East. In the Arab states, when they said America is coming, they start shivering. But we thank God we are more educated, and our reaction showed that we are civilized. We cannot allow any foreigner to come into our country, mess up and divide people. So I don't think ultimately they will attack anybody. I don't think so, because they are exposed. Their evil plans are exposed. They are so mysterious. They want to cause confusion. They want to pit Christians against Muslims, Muslims against Christians. And this is where they come to.
Sheikh there. Okay, now.
Yes, I'm still.
Okay, now U.S. officials and analysts have noted that much of the violence, especially the mass Christian attacks in northern Nigeria, is rooted in weak governance, not simple sectarianism. How can Nigeria leverage international partnerships beyond the U.S. to strengthen the institutions and justice system to handle security challenges internally? You've mentioned Russia and China. So can you give us more insight on that?
Yes, you see, military alliance usually no nation stays alone. America itself has NATO, to augment its security. So we should have some kind of alliances with people who are friendly. I could remember the Dharma of Gombe, the former military governor of Northwestern State, when it was Northwestern State. He said during Gowon's time, the English and the Americans came looking for a license to mine Nigerian minerals. So he told Gowon that we should not allow them. Even if we have to do them, we have to call the Russians, because when the civil war started, it's the Russians that helped Nigerians with the first weapons. Until when they see that we are winning, then they come to join us. So we should not neglect the BRICS countries in our military alliance, so that we protect ourselves from these imperialists and colonists.
All right, Sheikh, quickly before we go, at this point, do you believe Nigeria needs to redefine its foreign policy to better reflect its domestic realities and moral principles? And if so, what would that look like in practical terms?
Yes, I think it's high time we do a paradigm shift in our foreign policy. It is high time we know our true friends and we know our real enemies. At a point, I think one of the head of state was saying our economy is the one that is sustaining some of these European countries. Even Nigeria is so rich that we should harness and look inward. Anyway, I think as what happened, and I think maybe have a silver lining in it. Because now it will make the government to be more serious. One, to fight corruption, which corruption has permeated the whole society. It has permeated our security apparatus, the politicians and everything. Now we have to build the nation. As you can see, I'm traveling now. Look at we came a distance of about 2 hours drive and not one single pothole on the road. People who are here are doing very well, and Nigeria can do it. We are richer than all these nations we see. So I think it's high time now the government come in, embrace all Nigerians, and debunk all these narratives that are trying to cause division. Nigeria should be like Rwanda. Anybody who brings any question about disturbing Nigerians, I think that person that should be a law. that should penalize that person. Anybody who brings religious or ethnic differences or something to stir hatred and rancor between tribes or religions, that person should be sanctioned by the Nigerian government immediately. And that's the only way we can survive.